Hey guys, Willie and Murfitt here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the next episode on Gareth's Classic Mini. Now, in the previous episode, I modified the Jig, and today we're going to have a look over and see what's what and why we're replacing certain panels. So, let's get stuck in. This build series is proudly sponsored by Luntstone. Luntstone is a UK independent electrical engineering contractor delivering design, manufacturing, installation, commissioning and maintenance service expertise to a broad range of customers across the industrial, retail, educational and commercial sector. So if you want to find out more about Luntstone, please check out the website link in the description down below. Without further ado, let's get on to today's video. Right, with the engine now complete, it's time to return my way back to the Jig. Now, the Jig videos are a little bit here and everywhere because I have made some alterations, which is, as you can see, I've shortened these in. I've put a scaffolding tube across one side to the other, and now it's time to try and work out how to remove that flex. So with the car over on its side, we can kind of see underneath the extent of what the situation of the rust. And actually, on the whole of it, it doesn't look that bad. It's been quite a well-maintained Mini. There's a few bits and pieces that we're not particularly keen on. One of which is overseals. So the overseals have been fitted previously on both the passenger side and the driver's side. And as you are maybe aware or fully aware of, the overseals are moisture traps. So what happens is a lot of Minis get a lot of moisture on the roof. The water then runs down into the sort of down the side of the car on the inside into the seals, and normally on the back of these you have like escape routes, so the water does run out. Now the seals do tend to rot pretty easily because obviously they're on the bottom of the car, they're exposed to the elements, but also that water inside, lots of it sits in there and it rots. The problem with overseals are the water sits in there, and because they're completely welded shut to the car, I think they look pretty good because there's no holes or anything, but the water has nowhere to escape. So before you know it, your car's rotting from the inside out, which is the case with this car. So we'll get into that in a minute. Starting at the back, so panels that I've already agreed to replace on this car are the rear valance, the closing panels, the boot repair section, a full floor, outer seals, and a front panel. But obviously things unfortunately don't always go to plan, and some other bits and pieces may pop up in the long run. So looking underneath here, the rear valance actually probably didn't need replacing really, but because I need to repair that floor, this has got to come out, and we also want to try and go for maybe a de-seamed look, which I'm not 100% sure on, but it's not my car, so I can't really say no, but I'm going to see how it goes, and even if we can just take this lip down similar to the trims along the edges, and maybe have like a continuous trim all the way around the car, that might look quite cool. But as you can see, the panel's actually all starting to split where water's obviously sat in there. The panel up here is split. Wow, well that's the boot floor I'm pushing in. If you have a look inside here, where's that hole gone? You can see torch. Well, I will. You probably can't see that, but I'll pull the panel up in a minute and you'll be able to see exactly what's what. In fact, I'll hold that panel back and you can see, well, daylight. So that panel is actually not even welded in, it's just sort of folded over, and it's not good at all. So that obviously needs to be rectified. The rear valance, rear closing panels, and probably just little patches here and there. Obviously further along. I don't quite know how far the rear panel comes because I haven't got that panel just yet, but yeah, underneath actually looks pretty solid, which is good. But I mean, God knows what that is. That is like a very bad bodge with chicken wire and all sorts, which we'll come to whenever I take the car the other way. Battery box is looking pretty solid. That's good. And all of this, there's quite a bit of filler in there, so maybe have to look at doing these closing panels. We'll have a look when we get closer to the job. The floors that come out, I'm going to try and retain the existing hill board, but again, if it needs to come out, it needs to come out. The subframes are all ready to go back in, so if needs be, we can get the subframe in to align it all up. But you can see, just chipping away the metalwork. It feels pretty solid, but like many things, as soon as you start prodding, you are going to start finding holes here, there, and everywhere. Oh, right, so I've just got a punch. Ideally, I don't want to go through into the car. Well, we're looking pretty solid. I might just grind all this back, put some Q-Rest on it, and see how we go. But yeah, the wheel arch has had a repair done previously. It's looking pretty good. And I need to look at that because just gone through. So I need to put a patch in there, which isn't that much of a hard job, but it's just a little bit fiddly. So yeah, pretty pleased with all this so far. So going to the floor then. Now I'd say the main reason of changing the floor is for the seals, and I'll show you the inside of the floor shortly. But the bulk of it it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I've seen far worse. Drilled some holes because that's the way the drainage is going to go. Now the reason we opted for the full floor rather than patches because it's just much easier. You've just got to be able to mount it in place, make sure it's lined up, and weld the whole thing in. There's no joins across the exhaust tunnel. There's no joins across the front and the rear. There's no joins across if you do like a, you know, the sort of half floor, and it just makes things neater, cleaner, and obviously the longevity of the car is increased because you haven't got rust holes or welded holes along the lines which will potentially rust. So yes, there's a drain hole, that should be there, that's good. Right, going across to here, you've got a bit of crud on the toe board, but it's okay because I also have the toe board, which I forgot to mention previously. So the toe board's getting replaced, which I've never done one of them before, so that could be quite interesting to make sure it gets lined up properly. And then got a bit of a crack in the bottom of the A panel, which should be able to get pretty much welded up straight pretty easily. Just make sure that obviously hasn't gone into there. All of this sill panel is getting replaced, so we're going to have new outer sills and effectively new inner sills as well. So the only thing that's going to be here is the doorstep. Up into the scuttle, that seems pretty solid, that's good. And then down into the front panel, we've got a bit of surface corrosion and stuff as well. Now, along the front of the scuttle, the front panel, we've got bubbling of rust where they had various bits and pieces drilled to it. The wheel arch has been cut. I believe it's probably had sports packs on it at some point. The front lip's rotten and it's just in a bit of a poor shape, to be honest. Front bumps, front lip's all a bit wavy. So the plan is just to try and cut it off as best as I can without damaging the wings. Because when you start doing wings, that's when it starts getting complicated with the alignment issues. So that is pretty much the passenger side. Let's get the car back level, rotate it the other way so I can stand over there and have a better look. So right, onto the other side. This is now the driver's side. I've got me a punch, just making sure that things are tight. Now where the A panel joins onto here, I don't know how well you can actually see that. There is a crack in the bodywork that goes up here. I could probably clean that and re-weld it. As I say, the seals, the outer seal's coming off, and just stab a So inside the scuttle, not looking too bad. Feels really solid up there, which is good. And again, we've got the same issues here where surface corrosion and damaged lips and stuff, and yes, that's just going to get replaced. Now, one of the biggest things we have on the front is the toe board has been replaced or repaired. So the panel itself, I don't quite know how it's worked, but basically where the subframe mounts here, a plate has been put in around, and another one around here, which I don't know if that's covers or that's part of it, but I assume it's probably just a piece of metal cut around, welded around on the 1, 2, 3 sides, a little bit here, and then nothing around here. But you can jab the floor, and it's just pretty loose, pretty. Don't quite know what the best way to describe this is. It's pretty cruddy. Oh look, that is just that's silicone. So yes, it's a good job we're replacing this because someone's repaired the floor with silicone. Wow. Yeah, big panel here. It sounds pretty hollow underneath. But that is the biggest area of concern on this side here. But again, we've got overseals fitted. A repair section to the overseal has been performed as well. So I imagine possibly we've had a repair section put in here. I know from looking on the inside, this side here has had a repair done to this wheel arch. But yeah, overall, we're looking in pretty good shape. So the floor's pretty straight. It's actually straighter on this than it was on Luke's, and this has had various patches and repairs and stuff done. So yeah, that's pretty good. Rear valance again, pretty much non-existent. And that goes the same for the boot floor that side. As you can see, holes are starting to form as I'm poking it. So yeah, I don't know how well this is going to come out because get the torch. Yeah, rear closing panels, the rear boot floor not in good condition, and actually I need to create some repairs for where the subframe mounts as well. Now down in here, I don't know how this is actually going to come out, but see, it's like bird's nest of I don't even know what that is. Actually, no, I don't know what that is. That is a big bodge. Chicken wire and filler to, imagine if I poke hard enough, I'll probably go through. See all the filler coming through. Right, new battery. So, yeah, there's probably a little bit more patches and stuff needed than I thought in the first place. Hello, what's this? Ah. Okay. Interesting. Now, do we patch it, or do you fit a new wheel arch? Not sure. Anyway, so yeah, as you can see, a lot of the repairs and stuff are needed. There's a few bits and pieces extra, like up here, down here, potentially the closing panels. Now, if I change the wheel arch, the closing panel might as well just be replaced anyway as a you know, easy protocol. Just have a little tap around on the rear quarter. And you've got a hole where the wheel arch goes, but down here that is a rust hole forming in the bubble of the paint. So I need to speak to Gareth about see what he actually wants to do and how far he wants to go with the bodywork. It could be a case of, you know, it's going to have a full respray, and he said he wants to do it once, he wants to do it properly. So it could be a case of saying, right, we'll put rear quarters on it, you know, a new arch, rear quarters, and see where we go from there. It could be a case of saying, just patch the little bits and pieces here, there, and everywhere, and we can clear that and smooth that over with filler. Yeah, lots of surface rust, lots of corrosion and stuff, unfortunately, but that's minis. So, yes, the bird's nest behind there, I think the battery died, as I was saying. There's a bit of the chicken wire. Now, the other side of it, you've got all this here, lumpy, bumpy nastiness, which is predominantly filler. So I'd imagine at some point in this car's life it's reversed into something, because as you can see, that's quite a big chunk of filler just there. I'm trying. But anyway, yeah, that's where we are. So I'll rotate the car back onto the floor. I need to try and probably look to strengthen this jig ever so slightly, because it's just flexing a little bit. And when it was in the Clubman estate, there's a panel from here to the seatbelt mounts, which you obviously can't do because of the way that it's worked with the bulkhead. But I might be able to try and do something to go up to the seatbelt mounts on the top, maybe like diagonal bars or something, but I need to try and look into that. So the tyres need to go back down, the car needs to go back onto the floor, and then we'll have a look inside the car and then see what's what. Then we'll check out the panels and explain obviously what's the plan of action. Okay, so you can see I've well, you see the potential issue I have with this now is that the back of this pivots up. Now I need to obviously try and brace that further, but I'm not quite sure how or why or yes, well, how really. I don't know if it's worth trying to get something that goes from here to here and then down, but every mini is going to be different. So I need to obviously assess what I'm going to do and work out the best plan of action of how to get about that. But let's have a look inside the car. It's all supported now by some tyres. Have a look inside and you can see exactly what we're up against on the inside. Now, this is what we found whilst we've been looking at. Let me get my pokey stick. Right, so this is what we're up against on the inside. Now, there's a hole here and a hole here, which I drilled to drain the water out of, knowing that we'll be replacing the floors. When you start poking and prodding your way through the car, you can see things like this. I'm not going to go too mad because the car isn't braced as yet and it's on the jig, so I don't want the car to fold in half. But you kind of see the reason why people don't want to fit overseals to the cars, because that is basically the moisture sits in a lot of this foam stuff on the roof and then runs down the seams, down the inner of the panel. If you ever take your door cards out when it's had a bit of a wet day, you'll see there's a lot of damp on these side panels, and that's basically how and why the condensation comes in. It runs down the panels and it all runs down there into the seals, and then it sloshes around, and obviously with overseals fitted there's no way for it to escape and your car rots from the inside out. So over on the other side, you can see pretty much the same. You can actually see where they've welded the old overseal too, all the way along. And then it looks like they've just put seam sealer and stuff over the top of it, and job done. Interestingly, there's a hole been cut over there, which I imagine that's to get access to the subframe bolts. I don't know if that's a standard thing with later minis or what, but that's interesting to see. And if you're struggling to get yours out, you often drill a hole in the back and go from there. But I'm hoping that once we do this, it's going to be really, really good in here and like new. Well, it will be. So yeah. Just go on the other side. There's one little bit more that I'm aware of which needs to be addressed. A bit late. In fact, that's like paper mache. Wow. Just scrape all that back, and then just rot. Lots and lots and lots of rot. So it's a shame, because actually on the surface this mini looks really good. Now up here, we have repaired that panel previously from the outside. So it's just a case of just trying to clean all this up, cure-rust it, and making sure that there's no like rot and stuff on the inside. If you are going to be cutting out rot, make sure you cut the rot out rather than just do that, because the rot will still continue to grow in the inside. I'll just put a hole in the back, but basically you get the message, don't you? There's no need to keep going on about it. So it looks like we have our work cut out. Now back to the jig. Now previously I made these bars narrower, so obviously you can get through, rather than just for the estate, you can get through to the saloon. I put a scaffolding tube from left to right, and that is now pretty good. The only issue I have is that it's flexing, and it's flexing on that CV joint, and it's also flexing on the top mount here. So when the car is, well, when it's lowered and has the weight on it, this pivots right down, this pivots on this joint, and the top here almost touches the top here, which, as you can tell, there's quite a big gap between the two now. That was a little bit scary, wasn't it? So I need to just strengthen up these welds and these brackets a little bit better. But the idea worked really, really well. So massive thanks to my friend who came around, had a little look at me, and we kind of decided that it'd be a good idea to put a brace between the ridge on the parcel shelf to the bottom of the floor, so it mounts, sort of rest up here, and then it rests down in here. Now the only thing was, as it got to the point of just tipping over, the welds on this one broke. So yeah, I need to get stronger welds on there. But now it's upside down, it's rested pretty nicely on the flat, so it's not likely to move anywhere. So that's really good. And now I've locked it in place as well. It's pretty secure. It means I can get access to start cutting the floor out. So yeah, so I'm not going to do anything until these braces are secure. And I need to put a brace on the inside as well, from the door to the door, just to make doubly sure that this isn't going to twist and bend and break. But I'm super, super happy with the progress so far. I think what I may do, whilst I'm waiting for braces and such to be made up, I think I might cut off this rear valance, and then maybe start from the back and work my way forward, because I've got the stuff here and I can just crack on and get this done. So yeah, Jig 3.0 is nearly there. 4.0 we should get it cracked, so back in a bit. Rollover Jig version 4.0 I am calling complete. So my father-in-law came around, helped me stick weld up. So I've got these like hockey ship tape poles. They go up to a bracket up here, and then they've got some feet at the bottom. So it's secure to the parcel shelf, it's secure to the boot floor, and there's no flex in that whatsoever. So I guess it's time to roll it over and see how we get on. Because when it got rolled here, it got stuck.